Hi guys, today we're making the Burnt Basque Cheesecake, the Spanish-style cheesecake, famous all over Spain, but most likely in the Basque country. And we're gonna be playing with a lot of really nice flavors and cheeses to get this beautiful result of a burnt cheesecake, but with this super melty, smooth, and delicious inside. If you're a cheese lover and if you're a cheesecake lover, you wanna watch this. As usual, you're gonna find all the ingredients and quantities in the description, but let's talk a little bit about them. So first, we have cookies and butter to make one of those like super classics base for cakes. We have then cheese. I'm gonna use cream cheese as the main cheese. It's gonna be the base for the cream itself. I'm gonna use a little bit of cottage cheese. If I were in Spain, I would be looking for queso fresco, but it's kinda something similar. I'm trying to find these cheeses with high quantity of protein. They give a little bit of a nice texture. And then we're gonna use a little bit of blue cheese. Believe the process. I've tried with many cheeses, and honestly, all I can recommend is you to also try different cheeses. We want a main base of cream cheese, a little bit of a cheese that has extra protein, and then around 70 to 80 grams of something that kicks the flavor, that gives a different complexity to the cheesecake. Believe me, it sounds a little bit weird, but it's really nice. I've tried with parmesan, with pecorine, with a mix of both, with a little bit of blue cheese, gorgonzola. Just get creative. And now we have also 5 eggs, heavy cream. It's important for the cream to be at least 35–36%. And then I'm also gonna use sugar, and that's all. So first thing I'm gonna start with is the base, because I want to put it in the oven a little bit while we do the mix of the cake. I wanna say the Burnt Basque Cheesecake, or the most famous one, which is the one of La Viña in San Sebastián, they don't even use a base, and you don't have to, it's completely optional, but I do like to use it sometimes because it's just easier to cut, easier to distribute. If you're bringing the cake to a party or like a dinner with a lot of friends and stuff, you kind of want to be able to cut even pieces, and the base helps you for that, but it's completely optional. A lot of purists of cheesecake are gonna tell you that it's even not good. In this case, we're gonna use it. And also completely optional, you don't have to do it, but I want to first put only the base in the oven a little bit so we get it extra crunchy. Super easy. I'm gonna blend it first. So we have this crumble, and now we add the butter that I already previously melted. Okay, and now I'm gonna take the mold. This one is 23 centimeters, okay? For the amounts of the description, I'm using a 23 centimeters mold. And what I like to do with the paper is to do this, and then soak it a little bit in water, strain the excess. This is a little trick, first of all, because it looks kind of cute. It's easier to put it in the mold. It's how they do it in La Viña in San Sebastián, I believe. So now we're gonna put the base of of cookies. We're gonna distribute it now, good. And we want to apply some pressure to this with care, okay? You want to apply pressure all over, otherwise the cookie later, or the base, may fall apart, and you don't want that. This is ready. And now, while we do the mix of cheeses and stuff, we're gonna put this in the oven. I already have it warm at 190 degrees. We're just gonna give it like 5 minutes or something. Completely optional, but it helps get a crispier or crunchier base. There you go. And on the meanwhile, we're gonna make the butter. I'm gonna use a Thermomix. This is like the perfect tool, or the one that I like the most, but if not, you can also use a hand blender and a whisk. And if you have a hand blender that you can then change into an automatic whisk in order to whip cream and stuff, that would be perfect. I'm gonna use just the blender, the normal Thermomix, and then I'm gonna also add this tool, which is the whipping thing. The first thing we wanna do is create a cheese paste. So for that, we're gonna put the cheeses first, and a nice trick is use the sugar now. The sugar is gonna extract a little bit of the humidity of the cheese, so it's gonna help us blend the whole thing properly. I'm using aromatized sugar with vanilla, homemade, because like 1 month ago I used a little bit of vanilla and I just kept it with the sugar, and now it smells like vanilla, pretty good. Now we just blend this whole thing, 1 minute at 3 or something like that. Yeah. That's the little trick, okay? Divide the butter in 2 parts. One part where we blend the cheeses and we get a paste, and for that we don't want a whisk or anything. And then another part when I'm gonna add the cream, that it has to be as cold as possible, the eggs that also need to be cold. And when adding these 2 ingredients, we do want to whip a little bit the whole mix. So that's why I divide it in 2 parts. First, only blending, and then I'm gonna add this tool, or I would just use a whisk, if so, because I want, while adding these 2 ingredients, to add some air to whip the whole thing. You can see we got a nice paste that is more or less without, there's a little bit of lump still, but no problem, because we're also going to strain it later, so it doesn't matter. But we already have this paste of cheese, okay? It has all the flavor, and the sugar also helped it to be a little bit easier to distribute. And now is the moment I add this thing, okay? And okay, so now I just add the eggs and the cream. These 2 ingredients, they have to be cold, okay? In order to whip them properly. It is perfectly ready. Okay, and then the last little thing, this is not necessary also, so if you have issues with gluten and stuff, avoid this, but I do think just one normal tablespoon of flour helps a little bit with the texture. So we're gonna put that in and give it 30 more seconds. Now I'm just gonna strain it so I get rid of the lumps and stuff. Okay, now straining it is gonna help us get rid of those bubbles that are also gonna make the cake a little bit smoother, and also we're gonna get rid of any lumps, or for example in the case of the blue cheese, you see how I have all these like little dots that wouldn't be a problem honestly, but you know, doesn't it look like more elegant here, huh? I like to use this to avoid like a strong impact on the cookie, in the base, on the base. Now, also to remove the excess of the bubbles, well, and now we're just gonna put it in the oven, 190 degrees, heat up and down, and we're gonna wait for 40 minutes. And in 40 minutes, I'll let you know what's the next step. So this is how the cake looks after 35 minutes. Look at this. Of course, it's still super raw inside, right? You can see how fluffy it is. This is what we're looking for, kinda, okay? But this is not done yet. That's how it looks after 35 minutes. And now what we're gonna do is take the cake out and let it sit outside, while in the inside of the oven we put everything maximum. In my case, 250 degrees. I'm also using the grill function, okay, because I want that resistance in the top to also work as much as possible. And now we're gonna wait until it reaches the temperature that it needs to reach. When that happens, I will put the cake back in, and then I will wait for 3 to 5 minutes. And then I will wait from 3 to 5 minutes, standing in front of the oven, literally looking at my cake, because it's a matter of seconds, okay? It can turn from a beautiful, slightly burnt Basque cheesecake to a complete burnt cheesecake that you cannot even eat, okay? So I highly recommend you for those last minutes to just be really ready in front of the oven. And we put it up. There we go. Look at this. Now that is the right texture in order to later, when it cools down, to have this creamy, trendy texture that burnt Basque cheesecake should have. I know you have to trust the process, because when you look at this, you're like, oh shit, this is not ready. And then you would put it back in the oven and then you're gonna overcook it. Now, it's as important as the rest of the recipe to let this thing chill for at least 4 or 5 hours. I know that's the hardest part. I'm also like, I can't wait to try it, but it's still gonna now finish cooking with the remaining heat that it has, and it smells extremely good. So, after 3 hours in the fridge, ideally you can also just leave it room temperature, but you know, a man is busy, have things to do and stuff. This is a little trick. We're gonna warm up the knife a little bit to make a nice smooth cut. There we go. And there it is. This is the texture that you get with the times that I said, 35 minutes at 190, then out, and 3 more minutes at maximum heat to get the burnt style, but then keep it this beautiful texture on the inside. It's perfect. You know, with these kind of cakes, I don't want it to be super sweet. I want the cheese to be present. I want some complexity in the flavor at the end. That's how you do it in Spain, at least. And this is the cake that you would get if you go to a nice place. If you're a fan of cheesecakes, you really need to try this one. It's gonna be your favorite. It's true that also the inside, which is the best part for some people, including myself, may be a little bit too difficult to portion or so. If you don't feel like having this texture and you would just want it to have it a little bit more cooked, instead of these 35 minutes, just do 40, 45, and you'll have it a little bit less runny. But I highly recommend this texture.